Gervonta Davis has been stripped of his WBA title. And this is the truth. It is no longer on BoxRec. Gervonta Davis versus, my goodness, Lamont Roach will not be for a championship. What a duck. Because BoxRec says so. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, I am going to do a YouTube version of a short that I did on Twitter because Gervonta Davis, I am told, by people that wanted to debate me about Gervonta Davis and whether or not he should move to 140 pounds, informed me that Gervonta Davis had never fought a world champion. They went to BoxRec, they looked at all of his fights, and none of the fighters that Gervonta Davis had fought were world champions. And when you look at the WBA website, it doesn't say that Gervonta Davis is a champion either. And it doesn't say that Lamont Roach is going to be, that his fight is for the WBA championship either. How can this be? How can Gervonta Davis be a world champion if he's never been a world champion, if he's not a world champion? And how can he claim greatness if he's never fought a world champion? Look at BoxRec. That's what it says. Okay. So before I get into that detail, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you like people that really are going to tell you the truth and like not just make crap up so that they can win an argument, you're in the right place. And if you support the channel, hey, support it in the super thanks. That would be greatly appreciated. It is the number one way that we're able to continue to do these videos, along with you watching it to the end. But let's get into this. Gervonta Davis has people that do not like him that will make up any type of crap that they can think of. And they basically come up with their arguments and they run around and look for ways to justify it, which is why they're so easy to beat in debates. So Gervonta Davis is going to fight Lamont Roach. I have this back and forth with another YouTube channel who is a larger YouTube channel. I have respect for the guy. I just think what the guy is saying relative to Gervonta Davis is complete and utter bullshit. Just being honest with you. I think that you're just aiming this guy at a loss. So we go back and forth and I am basically answering a bunch of questions for him. And I give the answer. Hey, man, Gervonta Davis, why wouldn't Gervonta Davis go to 140? Was the answer that Showbiz, the adult, asked me on Twitter. So I answered the question and I was like, hey, man, maybe he goes up there, maybe he doesn't. Anybody can go up weight. That's up to them. That's not my business, really. But if I want to play devil's advocate, why wouldn't he go? I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't go, but I don't know why he would go. The biggest name fighters and the most difficult fights for him are at 135. Period. Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko. And Gervonta Davis fights at 135, right? So we go through this conversation. That is obviously, that's just obvious. That's not even much of a debate. It's just a real obvious thing. If Gervonta Davis should stay at 135 if he wants to stay at 135 because there's great matchups and a lot of money there. There's no reason to move to 140 if he has more at 135 than he would have had at 140 if he moves up. And if he moves up, he can move up once and he can move back down. I don't have a problem with any of that stuff, right? None of that. None of that. The problem is if you say that he can't stay at 135 or he's never going to be great if he doesn't do 9 divisions. I think that shit's stupid because there's plenty of one division champions in the world that became Hall of Famers like Marvelous Marvin Hagler and dang near every heavyweight in the Hall of Fame. All in one weight class, fighting against guys 60, 70 fights, right? But anyway, in this conversation, we go from the sublime to the ridiculous, where people are telling me that Gervonta Davis never beat a world champion. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Gervonta Davis never beat a world champion. So this guy literally puts up bunch of pictures from BoxRec saying that Gervonta Davis never fought a world champion, current world champion. Now, I happen to know, because I know boxing and I watch fights, that Leo Santa Cruz was a reigning 130-pound champion that Gervonta Davis beat for that 130-pound title. I also know that Mario Barrios was a 140-pound title list that Gervonta Davis beat for that title, WBA title. I also know that the same thing applied to Hector Garcia, who was the WBA champion at 130 when Gervonta Davis beat him. Right? So that's several people. That he also, obviously, Jose Pedraza, because Jose Pedraza was the reigning IBF champion, but the question precluded him because he said he hadn't done it. Oh, he hadn't done it in 8 years. So I'm like, nah, definitely Mario Barrios, definitely. So I name the people and they say, watch this stuff. Go to BoxRec and say they were not champions. Now, why are not, and those championships are not listed on BoxRec. So why? Let me tell you, because the BoxRec removed all of the WBA championships, all of the WBA records from their website. They wiped all of them. You cannot find a single solitary WBA champion listed on BoxRec. It's not just Gervonta Davis that BoxRec is saying never fought for a championship and never fought a reigning champion. They're saying that about every single solitary WBA champion in history. These jerks erased the original 1962 or 1960 sanctioning body, the WBA, that broke into the WBC before eventually the IBF came around and then the WBO came around. So that's why Gervonta Davis is not listed on there. Now, the funny thing to me is why would a fight fan not know that? You know Gervonta Davis is the champion right now. How do you not know that he's the WBA champion? Or do you just magically forget it when you go look for Gervonta Davis's record and notice that the WBA titles are not there? Right? But no, it's because Gervonta ducked that they're not there, that he's never did it. Dude, there are WBA champions there are no WBA champions, no WBA champions on those lists. It's just crazy. So, look, I know that there is a big industry now in conversations around Gervonta Davis. And if Gervonta Davis wants to move to 140, more power to him. I personally, from Gervonta Davis's point of view, now, please note, I am not talking about my point of view. My point of view is I'll take any fight that I see. I don't care if Gervonta Davis goes to 140 or if he stays at 135. There's plenty of good fights at 135. There are good fights at 140. If he feels comfortable fighting at 140, cool. But I'm not sweating him about it because I know there's good competition at 135. I was happy with the Lomachenko fight. I'm happy with it waiting for him to fight Shakur Stevenson at 135. I don't want him to leave the weight class, right? But that's my opinion. But if you ask me why should Gervonta do it, then I have to put my mind in the position of Gervonta, because you're asking me, why shouldn't Gervonta do it? So I have to empathize with Gervonta and look at the reasons for Gervonta. And the reasons are, there's no reason that he wouldn't do it, but you have to give me a reason to do it, right? So for example, somebody asks me, why don't you want to give me $100 out of your pocket? Why wouldn't I pull out my wallet, right? Why wouldn't I pull out my wallet and give you $500 in cash? Or why wouldn't I pull out my phone and send you $500 on a Cash App because you asked for it? Why wouldn't I? Dude, I don't know why I wouldn't. I never thought of it before. I just don't know why I would. What reason how does it benefit me to give you $500? If you're going to give me something worth $700, then yes. But if you're not going to give me any, then no, because I'm viewing it from my point of view. My point of view is, why should I do something? It is disingenuous to ask somebody why somebody else shouldn't do something. You look at why they would, because you actually want them to do something. I don't want them to not do something. I'm not telling anybody that I don't want him to go to 140. So there is no reason for me to say that he should not go there. But if I look at it from his point of view, there's no reason for him to. Because everything else that he could get at 140 is at 135, and there are things at 135 for him that are not at 140. And this is just logic, man. Again, no shaky camera bullshit. No bullshit. Just straight, look, man, get off the dude's back. Get off the dude's back. He got a huge deal with Amazon. He's got fights he's going to fight. He doesn't have to be inactive just because you don't like a particular fight or draft his entire career around the desires of other people and their ideas of greatness. No, man, greatness is in the eye of the beholder, just like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Who are you to tell somebody else what great means? What great to you isn't great to somebody else. Some people think that U.S. presidents are great. I think a lot of these people are scumbags. It's just a matter of perspective. So ultimately, you have to look at the person himself. Get yourself in the shoes of that person and then look with some type of empathy at why should he do that? And honestly, I can't think of a single reason for him to chase Liam Perro, or for him to chase Pitbull Cruz, or chase Rayo Valenzuela, or chase Puello, or chase Haney, or chase Garcia, who he already beat. There's no reason for him to do it because he's already cool where he is. That's like asking me, why shouldn't I buy a $5 million home? Why shouldn't I? I don't know why I shouldn't. Why should I? I don't need anything I don't need a house that big. I don't need all them rooms. I don't need the car. I don't need it. So I'm not spending my day thinking about why I shouldn't do things. I'm asking why I should do things. If you want to ask me, why should I jump? Put your hand in that fire. Why should I? Not why, man, why won't you? You're just putting the onus on me to explain my actions. No, dog, you got to give me a reason to do this. And if you can't give me a reason to do this, I don't want to hear your bullshit. Just straight up. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Boom. Deuces.